Let me quickly take one more word from Kartikeya Sharma. Kartikeya, is that what party insiders are saying? Not just a bigger role in the party, perhaps they'll make him a part of the core group, but before elections in 2014, it would be more important that he has a role in the government and maybe a MOS, PMO or something?
I agree. I agree that he needs to understand the governance, the administrative part, of which he has no experience. And I would say that the larger footprint in organization is not by a big post, because if you give him a big post and Congress does very badly as expected in Gujarat or as expected in Rajasthan, then it's going to impinge on his credibility. So the larger role, I would say, in terms of decision making, and the larger role in decision making takes place when you are part of the core group, where with 4 senior ministers he'll sit with the Prime Minister and Sonia Gandhi. That's where he'll be buffered by the actual impact of the electoral politics, but he'll have a say in where the Congress is going to function, because anyway he's a General Secretary, and the organization of the party is such that you have a president and then you have powerful General Secretaries. So I don't think that the Congress is going to temper with that institution at all, but it's going to increase the say and institutionalize it by his participation in the core group.
Okay, a lot is being said about the timing, that he is now ready. In the past, the Prime Minister said, I've always wanted to invite him, but he wasn't very keen. Okay. But what about this? Is there something to do with this timing now?
See, the timing is very simple, you know, in 2 years from now. Less than 2 years. You can say about a year and a half, you get into election mode all over again. So that's the timing part of it. Let's step back a little bit. Let's look at Rahul's father and grandmother. Mrs. Indira Gandhi first, quote-unquote, entered politics as Pandit Nehru's social secretary. You know, today we have Kuldeep Nair saying that Lal Bahadur Shastri all along had believed that Nehruji wanted Indira Gandhi to be the Prime Minister. But even then, while Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Prime Minister, Mrs. Gandhi was the Information and Broadcasting Minister. So she sort of entered, she had a portfolio, you can say reasonably important, unimportant. Take the case of Rajiv Gandhi. After Sanjay's death, his mother said, I need you. So here he was the most reluctant politician. He was very happy, flying planes. And Sonia Gandhi herself was most reluctant or most unhappy, and she herself has said so when he entered politics. He also entered politics as the General Secretary. Again, it was circumstances. The unexpected and sudden, assassination of Indira Gandhi, and before he knew it, he was catapulted to the top job. In the case of Rahul Gandhi, he's been around in politics for a while, for more than a few years. And many people have got an impression,
almost a decade now,
that he's reluctant. That he is reluctant to take an important position. So it now seems that despite Uttar Pradesh, despite everything that people have said about him, he is now going to take a more active role. Okay. But let's also understand one thing. Rahul Gandhi is quite an unknown quantity. He is most reluctant, for instance, to talk to journalists. If you recall, once he had given an interview to Vijay Sima in the Tehelka, and then he denied having said some portions of it, and there was a kind of interview where there were no tape recorders, no television cameras rolling.
No, and in fact, even now we don't know his views on a number of very major issues. I mean,
we don't know. Absolutely, you're correct.
The only television interview he has done is with me, by the way, which was completely by chance, to be very honest. It was nothing was designed. It was just he was coming back from Amethi in 2004-5, whenever, I don't even remember, and I was the only one with a camera. So it just happened with a lot of journalists, like what happened this afternoon, when some journalist chanced upon him wherever he was. So, but I happened to be lucky because I had a camera as well. So it was no great coup.
So what happens to Rahul Gandhi now? What's that bigger role that he intends to play?